Welcome at Mr. O.G.B. I want to say welcome to all of you guys. Anywhere you are watching us from, I welcome you. Thank you for giving us your time. Yeah, today we are going to look at something that I consider very important to the world and everybody in general. It doesn't matter if you like politics or you don't like politics, but it is very necessary that you know what is happening around the world. And I think we are going to look at something very important. The first topic is going to be Trump trade war. In fact, should I say with the world or with a specific people? I'm confused. I don't know what exactly to say, but I'm going to say Trump policy with the world, right? I think that is better and that is fair enough. And also, we are going to look at President Trump and Iranian regime, not actually with Iranian people. Like I've said it before, Iranian people are very nice people. I've come across a lot of them. They are very kind people, you know. But unfortunately, they happens to have a government that is not actually delivering as expected, you know. Iran is supposed to be one of the greatest countries in the world today. But due to the kind of regime they have, it is not happening that way. Trump has threatened that if Iran failed to you know open up to have a nuclear deal, that whole hell will break out. That is a very powerful statement. And we are going to look at it. What does that word, hell will break out, what does it mean? What if Iran refused to come to the table to negotiate? What do you think Trump is going to do? You know, all these things that we are going to look into it. And we are going to travel all the way from America down to Nigeria. People will always ask us, why Nigeria? Why Nigeria? Nigeria is like a capital of Africa, where everybody believes that if Nigeria gets it right, that almost the whole black community will be fine, you know. So because of that, we always talk about Nigeria, Nigeria. Give us a second. Yeah, so we always talk about Nigeria, Nigeria, Nigeria because we want Nigerian to get it right. So we are going to look at there is actually two major parts of Nigeria. You know, Nigeria has three major tribes, but in general, they describe it as a north and the south. That is how the best way to describe Nigeria. Just make the statement north and south. If you put it that way, you've got it right. And everybody who is familiar to Nigerian story, Nigerian politics, will actually understand the real meaning of north and the south. So we are going to look at the southern politicians. Like the South has been able to provide about three presidents since 1999 that Nigeria finally turned to democracy. You know that they call it Fourth Republic, and we are also going to look at the Northern president since 1999. The Southerners have provided three. That's Olusegun Obasanjo, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and the current one now, Mr. Tinubu. And the North has been able to provide, I think, two in the name of Mohamed Buhari and Yaradua, right? Yeah, so we are going to compare these guys and see what they are doing and which part of the country do we think that is getting it right, right? So now we are going to move on to our first agenda, which is Trump trade war. Now, what does Trump trade war mean? In a simple term, Trump only said something. He said, you are taxing products made in America higher than American government is taxing the companies that come from your country. For example, you are living in why should I use that? Okay, now you are a Japanese And Japan will transport their car like Toyota to America, and America will tax them 5%. And the same America will transport their own car, maybe Chevrolet, to Japan, and Japan will charge them 10%. I'm just using Japan and the US as an example. I'm not saying this is how it works in reality. I'm just giving as an example for your understanding. So now Trump is saying this is not fair. And Trump has been saying this since 1970 something, in the 70s. What is his argument? He argued that if you are charging American companies 5%, America is also going to charge you 2.5%. He said half. He didn't say they are going to charge you exactly the way you are charging American companies. But he says we are going to charge you half of what you charge our companies. I think that is not very bad, but we are going to come to that. So now, the real meaning of this trade war is that Trump wants to increase the tax that foreign companies are paying in America. And he said, for you to be taxed like American companies, you've got to come and build your manufacturing company in America. Trump is actually fighting for ordinary people in America, because when people like Toyota moved their company from Japan to USA and build their factories there, who are the people that is going to benefit from it? The companies are going to pay tax to American government, and when they pay tax to this government, what is going to happen? They are going to use it to build the infrastructures in the country, and these companies that moved to America, they are going to employ educated and uneducated American citizens and perhaps foreigners living in America. So these are the benefits that Trump is fighting for. And when the benefits come, actually the beneficiary are the people of America. Not It has no connection to benefit Trump in any way as a person. That is, Trump stands to gain nothing as a person on this trade war. We want to make it very clear for people to understand, because you might not understand the meaning of Trump trade war, and you'll be like, oh, why is he taxing people? Does he want to collect the whole money and put it in his pocket? The reality is this: he do not want to tax you to benefit himself, but he want to tax you to help his country people. And I can remember some years ago, I met a very old woman. When I say old, I don't mean to insult, but I mean very elderly woman. She must be 80 years and above, but she's lucky to be in a good health. She can walk on her own. I met her in the train station, and I was waiting for a train to come, and the woman walked and sat near me, and we start to have a conversation. She asked me, "Are you from America? Like from USA?" I said, "I am not from the USA." And she began to tell me a lot of stories. Like she said, America is very rich, and America is taking the little we have from us. That word was not. I meditated about it. I looked into it. I thought about it many times. And if you can reconnect it to this trade war, you know, other countries were like, America, you've gotten everything you want in life. You are mighty militarily, you are mighty economically, you are mighty in everything. You control the world, the world reserve currency. You have this, you have that. Why are you also pushing to tax us more, to take a little, the little we have? you know Maybe in that way it sounds justifiable, but Trump do not understand it in that way. Trump is trying to let you know that you've taken advantage of America for too long. you know that is, I think, is a fair argument, but what I am trying to say here is that the countries affected should act smartly, because if you try to, like if you look at Israel, if you look at, I think, Vietnam, and I think Mexico as well, they have complied in a way that even Trump himself has calmed down with them. Like Trump is no more ash with these countries because of the level of negotiation and understanding. In fact, the bottom line is the negotiation they put on the table is very considerable, and Trump have to understand some circumstances. Yeah. So if your country is affected, I think if I am to advise your government, I will advise them to be smart. Like South Korea, they have also done something great, which I hope and I pray that whatever Trump is doing won't affect them. Yeah, because they have moved, like Hyundai is going to build one of the biggest car manufacturing factory in America, and also many other Korean companies are there. So I think that should be fair enough for America to do something good that will favor the country as one of their best partner in everything once Asia is concerned, perhaps around the world. Yeah, and Europe is threatening to retaliate. Canada is also threatening to retaliate. We will wait and see what they are up to, but we wouldn't want any kind of trade war that will affect the life of the people around the world. Because when that happens, you know that the poor masses, which I am one of them, we are going to suffer. Every time I fight for the poor, because I am among them, I understand how they feel, I understand everything. So I've got to stand up and speak as much as possible in defense of us, right? Yeah, you know. Now we are also going to move ahead and look into President Trump's agenda towards Iran. Trump has written a letter to Iran, and Iran rejected Trump's letter. Like Trump wanted direct negotiation with Iran, and that Iran doesn't want it. Iran wants indirect negotiation. You know, direct negotiation in the sense that America, United Nations, will be able to go to Iran nuclear plant to expect it, like to look into it, understand what is there, and assure the world that Iran has no nuclear weapon and it has no desire to build one. This is what Trump is pushing for. And Iran is not into that. Iran is trying to tell you that we are not going to let that happen. And Trump is also trying to inform them that if you think that you can just behave the way you like, go ahead and build nuclear nukes, that whole hell will break out. Now, the negotiation is, the argument here is, what is the meaning of the whole hell will break out? Trump, as a person, has gone ahead to inform the Iranians and the world that if Iran insists that United States will not be able to come and actually see what is happening in that nuclear plant, that that nuclear plant is going to be bombed. How does that sound? You know, it didn't sound funny. It sounds so mean. Yeah, but I am here to disagree with President Trump. And I want to tell you something. There is something that the world have come to realize. There is something that even Iranians have come to realize, right? Now, instead of America to bomb Iran, they are bombing the terrorists in the Middle East, like Hitus, and so many of them. But here is what Iran knows. Iran know that Trump is not a president who want to involve in any conflict that have to do with the military. They don't want to involve. Trump does not want his name to enter the list of presidents that go into war, that fought war with foreign countries. No, Trump wouldn't like that to be on his name. So Iran understands that Trump's threat is as empty drum. They know that for no reason would Trump invade Iran. And I'm not saying this to back Iran, but I'm just telling you the facts. Actually, I'm not fan of the regime of Iran. I've met a lot of people, I think I've said it here many times. I've met a lot of people who are Muslims, who came from Iran, who came from Russia, who came from the Middle East, who came from around the world, even from Africa, and they disagreed. They said to me that yes, they love Iranians, they want Iranians to have a better life, but the reality is that they do not want any religious leader to be head of government, just like the supreme leader of Iran. You know, because like I've met one guy from Africa. I can't remember the name of his country, but he told me something. He said to me, everybody is crying, free Palestinian, free this and free that. But we know what is happening in my home, in his own country. But nobody is talking about that. He said to me, he said, do you know that in my country, many people are unalived every day by Islamic Jihad? But no one is reacting. Nobody is sending. He told me that his people is suffering more than the Palestinians, and what they are suffering from is not a natural disaster, and is not something caused by them, but by these jihadist people. He said in the mosques where he used to go to pray, a request was made for the people to contribute money for the Palestinian children, like people in Africa, to contribute money that they should send, they will be able to send those money to Palestinians. And he asked them, we have been in a mess for years. Even until now, nobody has cared about us. No one ever cared about us. We have never received a penny from any Muslim Brotherhood countries, but you want us that are into this mess to contribute to our money again, and after that you will send the money to the Middle East, right? To Palestinian people. He said to me that they hated him for making that comment, but that didn't stop him from following his heart. I looked at him and I said to him, I have never been to your country, but with what you've said, I will agree that you're right. You are not even a Christian, you are a Muslim. If you are a Christian, maybe I would have argued because you are not a Muslim, that's why you're speaking in that manner. But here you are telling me this, a fellow Muslim. I said to him, you must be very serious. And we have spoke to many people, and we understand that the current regime in Iran, many Muslims does not like it. Yeah. So that's by the way. So Trump is threatening, but Iran understands that Trump has no intention to be involved in anything militarily. That is why they are insisting that they have no interest in direct talk with the US, with the USA. But we will see what Trump is up to. But whatever happens, we pray that hell won't break out. Whatever happens, just like as President Trump said, he would like Iranians to come to the table and have a negotiation rather than waiting until when the hell will break out. Now, our third agenda is northern politician. We have the former northern president and the former southern president of Nigeria. Here is what we observed recently. We went back till 1960 when Nigeria got her independence, and we studied very carefully what happened before the first coup in Nigeria took place. And if you walk towards that direction, you will agree with me that what the Nzogu and his team alleged to be the reason why they carried out the coup is to correct the injustice going on in the land. And who are the perpetrator of this injustice, and where did this injustice and so on take place? It happened in the Western Nigeria. The West, when I use the word West, because I've said before the popular name in Nigeria is Southern Nigeria and the and the Northern Nigeria. But in the Southern Nigeria, we have the South is there, the West is there, and the East is there as well. Now, we have major three tribes in Nigeria. Tribe 1 is the Igbos, 2 the Yorubas, 3 the Hausas. I am not saying that Igbos are number one like in everything, not at all. But just for the sake of number, that's why I counted them first. Now, the Yorubas have provided 2 presidents to Nigerians since 1999. First, Olusegun Obasanjo, and the current president now, President Tinubu, is from Yoruba. Now, we will go to the north. We look at Yaradua, is a northern man, the former president, who ruled for a few years, and unfortunately, he lost his life. You know. Second is Muhammad Buhari, who ruled for complete 80 years uninterrupted. And now we come back to the south. South, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan have ruled Nigeria for over 6 years because his master, the president Yaradua, died and he took over from him. And after that, he contested for election and he won. And he ruled for 4 years and he contested again, but unfortunately, he couldn't win it. Now, we come back to the East. The Easterners have never been opportune to provide a president to preside over the country since 1999. Now, this is our point. Our point is that let's go back to the regime of Obasanjo and let's see what happened when he was a president of Nigeria. Obasanjo is a Southerner man from the Yoruba tribe. Now, when Obasanjo was a president, history has it that a lot of governors was impeached, a lot of state emergency rule was declared in different states. And remember also what happened in Anambra during Obasanjo's regime. But the reality, we want to make it short here. When Obasanjo was the president, a lot of governors was removed, a lot of state emergency was declared in different states for reasons known and unknown to the people. Now, he did all these things. We move further to Yaradua's regime. Yaradua, in my opinion, is one of the most peaceful leader ever ruled Nigeria. It is very sad and unfortunate that death took him away from Nigerian people. But God knows the best. My condolences to his family and to the Nigerian people who lost such a great leader. When he was a president, he brought peace to the land. The Niger Delta crisis was ongoing, but he stopped it. The election that brought him to power was rigged. He confessed. He told the country, the system that brought me to power is not upright. But I am going to make sure that the country will not experience such again. Unfortunately, that took him away. Then his vice, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, took over. You can agree with me that Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is one of the best presidents ever ruled Nigeria. When he was president, Nigeria was better than today and even yesterday. Yes, there is massive corruption in his government. And thus, if you look at the corruption now in the country, you will agree with me that it's higher now than yesterday. So now, when Jonathan was the leader of the country, yes, there was also state emergency in different states. but no governor was removed, no assembly members was removed, no deputy governors was removed, but they were suspended for a few times. Now we move ahead to Buhari's time. Buhari became a president. He did a lot. In fact, he took the country backward, 20 years backward. A lot happened in his regime. But here is what we want to point out. When Buhari was a president, the former governor, Rotimi Amechi, was a minister in his government. And as a minister in his government, and as a former governor of Rivers State, he did what the politicians used to do in Nigeria by making Wike the governor of Rivers State. And when Wike took over as the governor of Rivers State, he had a clash with Wike many times. At a point itself, Wike couldn't allow him to return to Rivers State, his own home state. But here is what we want you to know. Buhari did not back Amechi until Amechi, like he didn't give Amechi the power to go ahead and destroy the state of River, just like what is happening in River State today. Now, Buhari was a president, and his minister, a minister serving under his government, was having issue with a governor I can say he single-handedly appointed, just like Wike did to Fubara. Now, Fubara is the governor of the state, and the former governor, Wike, is a serving minister in the government of Ahmed Tinubu. And now Wike is having issue with his predecessor. Wike is having issue with the current governor of Rivers State, whom we know that we are not saying whom we know, but whom Wike himself openly say, I made him the governor. I made him the governor. I made him the governor. He said it. It's not a joke. It's not alleged, but it's there on the video. Wike said it. He said, we have made a mistake. We made him governor, and now he has turned against us. And he told us how many people came to negotiate who will be the governor, whom people wanted to be the governor. But he said Fubara will be one to be the governor. Now the Fubara guy is the governor. And what Mr. Tinubu can give to Nigerians is to use Wike to destroy Rivers State, which Buhari didn't do when Amechi was having issue with Wike. All what we are saying is to give you guys more reasons why we believe that the northern politician seems to be more democratic than the western politician. Because if you look at the regime of Obasanjo, it was all about state emergency, removing governors, imposing a lot of things on the state, and a lot happened. Even if he couldn't even stand, he was even fighting with the then governor of Lagos State, the current president of Nigeria today, Mr. Tinubu. Now look at what Tinubu is doing. Tinubu couldn't manage the crisis in Rivers. And look at how Buhari managed his own. Buhari didn't allow anything that will affect the state affair, that will affect the people directly, because Amechi is a minister in his government. He didn't do that. Now, when this crisis in Rivers State in Niger Delta was ongoing, who brought peace there? It was Yaradua, a northern man. So when you study all these things, I don't know how to put it together to convince you, but I don't think I need to convince you. So far, you know the reality. You know the story yourself. You are there, or perhaps you are elsewhere like I am, but you know the reality. right? So now the Buhari guy didn't use his minister to destroy the state. When Yaradua came, he didn't use the power of incumbency to destroy the Niger Delta. But when Tinubu came, he used his friend Wike to put in stability and declare state of emergency in Rivers State. And don't not forget again, when Niger Delta crisis started, it was under the regime of Obasanjo. But Obasanjo couldn't bring peace to the land. It takes Yaradua to restore peace to Niger Delta. When you study these things, you see that the president provided by the Southerners, by the Yorubas, has not been as fair as those from the north. What led to the war, what led to the coup, these guys contributed so heavily on it. The war, these three brothers went to Ghana to have a negotiation on how the country will be run. Kwame Nkrumah was there. Other former head of state from different states of Africa was there. And Ojukwu presented his argument. And these three brothers looked into the argument. They negotiated it. A lot was extracted and a lot was adopted. Everything was taped. It was on tape and on paper. And they were all aware that everything they said is on tape. And they left Aburi. They came back to Nigeria. The other guy went back to Lagos. The other one went back to Ibadan. And the other guy went back to Enugu. The two guys in Ibadan and Lagos teamed up and turned down the story and give the people another story. And Ojukwu got to say, no, my brothers, this is not what we agreed on. Please, let's do the needful. And the other two guys said no. And Ojukwu got to release the original tape that convinced the people around the world that these are not what these people agreed on, but this is what they are doing. You see what led to the war? That cost millions of lives. Genocide was committed against the Igbos. Over 6 million of them was unalived. And Nigerian troops, thousands too, was unalived. That's unfair. And since then, the country has never healed. Very unfair. However, we wish the country fast healing, because failure to heal the land will actually affect the life of everybody, as it is doing now. Nigeria is expected from 1960 to be one of the world leading powers in everything. But today, where is Nigeria? All her sons and daughters are scattered all over the world, doing unimaginable works, growing other people's economy, but their homeland is not growing, right? That's unfair. Nobody in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even early 90s, nobody will believe that Nigeria will be where Nigeria is today. Even early 2000, no one believes that. But here we are. No hope. Good luck to you guys.